Hey there everybody, and welcome back. In today's video I'm going to be walking you through a quick review of the Visible phone service. Now you're going to note that I'm screen sharing my computer instead of actually holding my device, and the main reason is I've made a couple of video reviews in the past, but I've actually driven cross-country with this service, so I'm hoping to give you a pretty transparent review of pricing, how the service has been since I've been using it. So to give you a little bit of context, I've been on the Visible phone plan probably about 4 to 5 months now, and just wanted to give you a walkthrough of pricing, what you're going to get, what to expect, and help you to figure out if it's best for you. Now, before we get started, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the channel for new content. And for those of you that are interested in signing up for Visible, I will be putting this referral link in the description. When you sign up, you will get your first month for $5, and in full transparency, I will get a month for $5 as well. So if you decide by the end of the video you're interested in signing up, check out that link in the description. Now let's go ahead and get started. So jumping straight in, we're at the Visible website right now. So we're just going to click on check out our current plan and walk you through the general pricing. So when you get Visible, there are a couple of things that you need to know when comparing this to Verizon. And the reason I mention Verizon is Visible's using Verizon towers. Now, before you get really excited and think that you're going to have the best possible coverage, as Verizon has incredible coverage in the US, one thing to note is Verizon is still going to cover or make sure that they prioritize their own customer speeds. What this means is if you're in an area with a bunch of other Verizon users, let's just say you're all on the same tower, and they're all streaming, you could notice that their service is prioritized. So even if you have full bars of 5G service, you could notice, you know what, why are my download speeds so slow? Although this isn't going to be something that's always going to be happening, it is worth noting that there is a reason that this service is not as expensive as the other traditional Verizon service. So let's walk through what you're going to get and what to expect. So you'll see that you have unlimited data and you have unlimited texting and calls. You'll see if you go over the info bubble, times of traffic, your data may be slower. That's basically what we were just discussing. You have calling to Canada and Mexico. You have mobile hotspot included, but this is limited to speeds of 5 megabits a second, and that is limited to one device. So 5 megabytes a second download is not terrible. However, you're going to notice this is probably not the best speed if you're wanting to stream to a gaming console and do some heavy online gaming, or if you're wanting to do some really heavy internet intensive work like streaming from 20 different YouTube videos at the same time. Now, you're also limited to one device. But if your work were to go, let's just say you're using your internet for work and your internet goes out, this will give you something to jump on and at least be able to make some basic video calls or something like that. And then the 24/7 access to human assistance, I've never actually had to use that, but it's worth noting. So if you were to go to Visible, let's just say you want to figure out what the cost is or what plans they offer. Well, they essentially offer one plan. So you have a couple of choices. You can either just pay for a single person, which is $40 a month. If you add a Visible member, you can do party pay. And when you get to 4+ members, it's $25 a month per person. You'll see that you sign up, create the party, and enjoy the savings. And then you'll kind of see how this works. Now, if you have questions on how to get the party, like for example, who pays, everyone pays for their own service. So you can see right here, the cool thing about this is one person's not getting hit with the bill for all, let's just say 4 to 5 people. Each person's paying their own portion. Now you can read more about that in the FAQs here, but the idea is you're looking, if you're just doing a single person, at $40 a month, and then you'll see what this includes here. So Wi-Fi calling and texting, all of the services listed here. So check out their website and see if that's what works best for you. Now, the biggest thing to think about when getting phone service is coverage. It doesn't really matter how much you pay for service if they don't cover your area. So you can go to this coverage map here and zoom in on any specific area that you are interested in using the coverage. I drove from Colorado to Pennsylvania, and I was using my GPS the entire time just to kind of test the overall coverage. And I tried to make a couple of phone calls during the route and just stream music intermittently. I can tell you that the coverage itself, so when using GPS and streaming, it does appear as if when you're using those services, it does kind of buffer in advance. So it's hard to tell if the coverage goes out intermittently, primarily because if you're using, let's just say, a streaming service, they've probably already loaded the majority of the song. However, I can tell you that I did not notice any big outages. Now, while making calls in the various areas in the route when they were less populated, I can say that I did have a couple of dropped calls during this drive. But I can't say that that's necessarily going to be a deal breaker, as those weren't areas where I live. It was just where I was kind of commuting through. So overall, I was able to get service. I didn't have any issues with streaming music or GPS. And when the calls drop, typically making the same call within a minute or so, I was able to get back on the network and actually continue to make that call. So overall, the service was pretty decent. So, giving you a general review from being in a couple of different states, I will say personally, I don't feel like I'm on a Verizon network personally. And so, when you're going through and actually trying to figure out where you live, you need to make sure that you have 5G service or 4G, and you can just kind of check on this map. If you want, you can zoom in, try to figure out what service you have and where it is. So this map will be color coded to help you figure this out. And you can also click on the search bar and type in the specific area and go to that area just to make sure that it gets decent coverage where you plan to live, work, commute, etc. But I will say overall, the service has been great for the money. For a $40 plan for a single person with unlimited data, whether you need to disconnect from internet or just drive around, the coverage has been pretty good. I don't really think that I struggle too much as far as making or receiving calls, getting or receiving text messages, things like that. I feel like overall for the price, I think it's definitely better than trying to pay full price for a plan for a single person. So would I recommend the service? Yes. Would I give you an honest review? Yeah, I want to tell you, with you using the service, I personally feel like I'm getting full 5G Verizon quality service everywhere I go. But at the same time, I'm also not paying for that. So I think that you're going to be getting what you're paying for, and honestly, and then some. If you were to compare this to, let's just say, Google Fi, where I'm going to be dropping a new review link in the description, if you're using this two services compared, price-wise, Visible, you're going to come out on top. And if the service area works for you, then it's a great option to consider. But I will leave that there. If you have any comments or questions, drop them in the comment box below. Or if you just want to share your overall feedback of the service, feel free to drop them below. I'd love to hear what you all think, and I'll see you all in the next video.